In other words, what the Assemblyman said is he has no experience. And this is not a job for someone who has no management experience to run 300,000 people, no financial experience to run $115 billion budget. He literally has never had a job. On his resume, it says he interned for his mother. This is not a job for a first-timer. Any day, you could have a hurricane, you have, God forbid, a 9/11, a health pandemic. If you don't know what you're doing, people could die. On the quality of life issues, the worst thing that could happen is if the Assemblyman's proposal for legalizing prostitution went through. That would be terrible for the quality of life. He also doesn't want to enforce misdemeanors.
We're getting to that,
That's
Mr.
assault, larceny, et cetera. That would be terrible.
We're going to have time to address that.
I want to be very clear. Not only have I never called for the legalization of prostitution, I'm not calling for that today either. And I also have never said anything about not enforcing misdemeanors. This is just yet another figment of Andrew Cuomo's imagination.
The DSA, which you give your part of your salary to, that's their position: abolish jails, no new carceral facilities, don't enforce misdemeanors. And you're on the bill in Albany as a sponsor to decriminalize prostitution.
Who supports Kathy Hochul for re-election?
It's a decision that should be made after this general election.
So no decision. Mr. Cuomo, you handpicked her as your lieutenant governor. No thought?
You have to know who's running.
Yeah. Okay, so.
And I would add that I do think that Kathy Hochul, our governor, has been doing a good job in not only
do you
serving
support her
and
for
delivering,
re-election?
not only delivering for New Yorkers, but also standing up to Donald Trump.
Just what, do you support her for re-election?
Then endorse her.
I'm focusing on November.
Why don't you endorse
and I
her?
appreciate her support,
All right,
and I
thanks,
appreciate
candidates.
her work.
But
Thanks,
you don't
candidates.
endorse her.
How about a shout out for
right,
Lee
we're gonna
Stefanik
turn
to
to-
take out Kathy Hochul?
No.
So you have a
Okay.
Republican
All right.
Mayor Curtis,
All right.
a Republican Governor
Thank you, gentlemen.
Stefanik,
Thank you.
like Giuliani
We want to
and
talk about
Pataki, who
schools.
saved this city.
We want to
and
talk about
state.
schools. We've obviously been talking about free buses. You've talked about free childcare, city-run grocery stores. So essentially, you're proposing about $10 billion in new spending. And as you've indicated, you want to pay for it with tax increases. But as Sally pointed out, Governor Hochul said no to raising income tax on millionaires. So tell New Yorkers tonight how you're going to pay for all of this in 1 minute, if you can.
Look, a lot of people have called even my campaign a non-starter when we first began. And now I stand before you proud to be the Democratic nominee who got the most votes in city primary history. And I believe we will see the same thing with our push to ensure that we are taxing the wealthiest and the most profitable corporations the fair amount that they should pay. Now, there are those who will say that because it will be hard, you should give up. We saw what giving up looked like when Andrew Cuomo was the governor. He gave up on fighting for working-class New Yorkers and instead caved in to his billionaire donors. And what did we get? We have the fastest and most frequent helicopter service to the Hamptons, and we have the slowest and more expensive bus service across the 5 boroughs.
I would ask
David?
you,
Thank you.
Mr. Mamdani,
Okay.
would you protect the Christopher Columbus statues that exist here in the city?
I'm telling you, my focus is on affordability. I'm not thinking about
Well, you're not
statues.
answering the
All right.
question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
He
They're
gave,
not answering
he
the question.
gave the finger to the Columbus Day
Okay,
statue.
that issue's come up
That's what we
earlier
call
in
a
the debate. All right, candidates.
disgraziado.
You know, that's ironic that you say that now,
I'm sorry,
Andrew
Mr.
Cuomo, because
Yeah.
when you were governor for 8 years, your parole board released 43 cop killers back into the street.
Okay,
Your father, when he was governor,
we have to move on.
released
Mr.
none.
Mamdani.
I knew Mario
Mr. Sliwa,
Cuomo.
we're moving on.
You're
Mr.
no
Mamdani,
Mario
since he
Cuomo,
made-
Andrew Cuomo.
I'm sorry,
You
we have
released
to-
cops.
Mr. Sliwa,
Don't say you're
Mr.
pro.
Mamdani, do you want-